All right, buddy. Feeling good, ready to roll.
Feeling good, and the world has come back.
The world's back.
Giving me a quick swift in the groin.
Really?
Controlling you heavily on Wednesday with my beautiful weather, because right now it's snowing. It's cloudy. It's in the 30s, but you know what? That's what we paid for. It's the winter time. It's February 16th, the year 2024. Welcome aboard, everybody. This is the Crushing Iron Podcast, and we are episode 749.
Indeed. And it is a little chilly up
How
here.
was your Valentine's Day, buddy?
That was awesome, man.
Get any gifts?
No.
Get any cards?
No, but
Did you get my Hurry Slowly chocolates?
oh, I didn't get any. To be honest, I mean, our mailbox, we got to
UPS.
drive over to the mailbox. I haven't been over there in about 2 weeks. So there could be
listen.
some things in there.
We're going to do what Valentine's candy
Sure.
and Halloween candy do anyway, which is just sit there in forever in purgatory in your pantry for 6 to 8 months until you finally throw them out.
I don't know. Last night I had a little candy. I had a Hershey bar and a couple other things, and
She went classic.
I know it's just sitting there. And
Was it a mini or was it like the full?
Nah, it was like old school normal size,
So yeah, that's one normal
medium
size.
probably. No,
Medium.
well,
What was
small.
what the heck?
I don't know. They have so many sizes now, man. I had a couple, had those, and I actually had a couple.
What else did you?
This is a true story, man. It's like I think I've told it before, but I literally had to go to the post office yesterday. I got in my car, and I'm in my seat next to me. There was a 4-pack of M&M cookies. I'm like, damn, I forgot about them because I haven't driven in a few days.
Trolling you. That's the universe testing your willpower as a surprise shot.
Oh, they were gone instantly. But
Before you got there, or did you at least savor some on the way home, or was the way out there the indulgence and the way home the regret?
both, because yeah, it didn't sit well with me. I actually woke up this morning with a sniffle, but I'm about halfway through my healing protocol, and I feel pretty damn good already.
Let me guess. Sauna and some apple cider vinegar.
Well, apple cider vinegar for sure, but no, I have a thing where I like to do. Yeah, I didn't do the sauna, but I like the concept of low heart rate sweating.
Oh yeah, I'm all in on that.
And I go heavy into deep breathing, dude. It's the oxygen for me. It's all your body needs more oxygen to take care of the whatever it's trying to get rid of, to cleanse. So anyway, that's what I've been doing this morning, and I do think I've. It's sort of like paying attention to how you feel in a race, right? If you feel it coming early, that's when, we talk about backing off. If you feel like you might be going, people don't pay attention to that shit, and I pay heavy attention to that with like my ills.
Ills.
But I mean, seriously, like if you go too deep, then you're digging out of a hole. But if you can kind of stay on top of it and do your protocol, it's good. It's a good practice.
Everybody should have their own protocol. Or at least pay attention to it instead of driving themselves into the ground when they first get like the first tingle of a sniffle. You know what today sounds? I'm gonna go ahead and smash myself today. Just be responsible. Take it easy. Have your own protocol. Listen to your body. Take care of yourself, because that is all about longevity. It's Friday. I'm skipping the intro. So on Wednesday, we did the podcast. We talked about run camp and the benefits of the last day, right? It is in a way kind of an adventure day. You choose your own adventure. You got different kinds of terrain. You got choices in loops. You obviously got choices in how hard you go, how long you want to take, who you want to go with. And it's actually something that I've incorporated with athletes in the past. Not every athlete, probably not even 50% of athletes, but occasionally I will incorporate adventure days into training. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is an adventure day? I don't want to go out and run a 26-mile trail marathon. I'm like, that's not an adventure day. But one of the things that I've learned in the 10+ years that I've been coaching, and even with myself as an athlete, is that a lot of times one of the biggest enemies and obstacles to consistency with athletes is that 24/7, 7-day-a-week feeling of structure, rigidity, and being told what to do. and they eventually need a break, right, from it. And they want to be able to do what they feel like, just like we just talked about with their body, right? Everybody should have their own protocol, right? I have my own protocol, which I've talked about openly on the podcast, which to me, it's going out, doing a super easy run with some pickups to get my heart rate up and to at least fluctuate, or excuse me, not fluctuate, to at least get the blood flowing and circulate whatever crap's in my system and getting it through and getting it recognized and getting out of my system. And I would say it works 99% of the time. And I just know these things. I can feel it. And so I just have a certain protocol to do. So I think owning that is great. And because whether you're a seasoned veteran, right, you've been coached for a long time, or you've been self-coached for a long time, you're doing it for 10 plus years, or whether you're doing triathlon for your very first year, everybody has like these gut feelings of what they feel like they should be doing or that they want to do. And as a coach, you hear this almost daily. I really feel like you should be doing this, or you know what, I'd really love to be doing this, or maybe we should do this, or it'd be really fun if I could do this. And as a coach, your balancing act, right, is yes, I work with you / for you / we work together. I do know what's best for you. Rarely does an athlete, I think that's why you see like no self-coached world champions or high-level athletes. They all have someone else being objective. It's hard to see, the objective side of training. But as a coach, you have to be flexible and encouraging to kind of for your athlete to be autonomous, to own their own journey, to choose things that make things exciting. And a lot of times, right, some of the best ways to explore that are to weave in adventure days, right? And what I mean by that is, and we'll talk about that for the podcast, is timing and how to implement these in your own workouts. Because to me, it's all about freedom. Today, no one's telling me what to do but me. And before we get too deep into it, I think one of the biggest benefits from that and how you can see huge growth from it, right? And kind of a piggyback conversation we talked about on Wednesday about athletes training in an environment that is hard, that is challenging, and the only person telling them to go is them, right? Because you in training, and a lot of athletes are externally and internally motivated by the finish line, by a time, and by their coach. I don't want to disappoint my coach. I don't want them to think I'm slacking off. I want to make them happy, or whatever it is, whatever their feeling is around, their coach, and they're looking at their workouts. I don't want them to see a red, or I want to finish out these last 15 minutes, and instead of doing an hour and 45, I'm gonna do 2 hours. I'm gonna do it, right? Coach had it in there. But on race day, no one's around. Period. No one. Not your group, not your buddies, not your spouse, not your kids, not your motivational posters on the wall, not your reminders, not your Hammerfest playlist, not your emotional soundtrack that gets you in your feels, not your YouTube video that you can watch crossing the finish line, people over and over and over again, and just get you jazzed up. No coach is going to check right at the end. It's just you. And one of the best things about adventure days is you put all of the responsibility and the effort and the feeling and decision making on the athlete. And it can provide huge opportunities for growth, both in letting them be themselves that day, right? And seeing what they choose to do within their own time, space, and flexibility. And a lot of times it's not just about what they choose to do physically, right? Because you can gain so much insight in not me telling you what to do, but in you doing things how you want them to be done. And then actually, again, because a lot of times for athletes, they say they want one thing, but then when you give it to them, they don't want it anymore, right? A lot of athletes want things that they don't have, right? You're like you talked about before the podcast. We can have an athlete that's, hasn't swam in a month. They're skipping all their swims, and all of a sudden next week, put any swims, and they're like, hey, coach, what happened to my swims, man? I was playing in the pool this week. I'm like, dude, you even know where your membership card is? You're not going to the swim. You're not going to go swim this week. Put it back in the swim in. Then happen. So it does. It allows for freedom, flexibility, and for them to kind of get out this free spirit that whether these type A athletes want to acknowledge that they have or not, we all have it, right? We all have that little bit of rebellious attitude and mentality. We have a case of the buckets. You know what? I just want to go out and get it done today. I just want to do whatever I want to, and letting them do that, right, I think is a great way to rejuvenate their own spirit, show their level of fitness, as long as it can be done in a healthy, not controlled, but at least parameter driven goal?
Well, I was wait, I didn't know if you were talking about, do you give athletes actual freedom to have the adventure days, or you actually script them? I didn't know if you're going to put in there that, I want you to go to Chuck E. Cheese today. Just let it rip.
So good. So I'll give you two quick examples. So for athletes that I've got this next week, next week I've got an athlete training for Boston. And next Saturday I just said, adventure day, 2.5 to 3 hours, which isn't supposed to be a whole run, because I would never give anybody this. And I just titled, go out and have some fun today. I don't care if you're on the trails or on the road, but I have a few caveats. Must fuel properly. Must walk at least 10 to 20 minutes of the total run, spread out how you want to. Must ensure you can recover hard after. And then last thing, and most importantly, you must have fun. That's it. And the other athlete that I did it to was actually, I changed it yesterday because I could feel that the heavy level of prescription was just maybe a little bit too much right now. And they needed some freedom, and they've been stuck inside a lot. They live out in Arizona, and they're just not used to being on the trainer this much. And I can just tell it's getting to them. So I changed from a 3-hour ride that had some target intervals, and I just said, today you can ride as long as you want, up to 4 hours. Whatever bike you want to, just keep it aerobic, but you can ride as long as you want. Done. Good. And to me, that's an adventure day. You can go ride, because even if you give an athlete, like, if I give them this interval workout and said, hey, here's the intervals, they're going to have to pick, not have to, but they're going to be more likely to look through, all right, what's the best route that I have to take for this exact, session to get this exact intervals in. It's just a lot of thinking, right? It takes up a lot of bandwidth and a lot of energy to do it right. And so a lot of times I think it's really important to give these athletes, the ability to gain fitness under their own, on their own direction, and safeguard it in a way to where you're not going to make a mistake, right? And it's not going to dig you a hole. But hopefully what it'll do is rejuvenate you, because a lot of times we just forget to have fun in what we're doing. Right. And athletes, I need you to tell me exactly what to do today. I'm like, well, it's never that complicated. Right. Go out and ride easy, as right as you, and maybe as far as you want today. And you learn a lot by that. Right. And you have the athlete that say, yeah, I want to ride a lot and ride. Like, give me some more riding. You ride as long as, and then they ride like barely 2 hours when you would have given them 3. I just wasn't feeling it today.
Yeah.
I don't even today. And it's just, so you get an athlete that rides 4.5, 5, and they're like, dude, I had so much fun today. It was so good. Just kind of be who I wanted to be today. Not worry about going over, not worry about going under, because the best part about it to me is that you get to just have fun with zero expectation, because the whole thing is a win. I can do what I want today. Go as hard as I want, go as slow as I want, stop as much as I want. Right. It just doesn't have to be so scripted. And I think that level of flexibility can lead to athletes buying in more to the prescription later, because they don't get so burnt out. To me, the best analogy I can give is, and I've talked about this before in the podcast, I think, is, when Hayden used to come home from school, when he first started going to school, he would come home, he was an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. And I remember talking to my mom. She's like, oh, how was, Hayden's first few days? I'm like, he comes home and we're in the most shit mood. He's tired. And she goes, oh, that's a good thing. I was like, what do you mean it's a good thing? Well, it's because he feels safe at home to be who he is and how he wants to be. And he's letting all his emotions out, because all day long he has been acting how he thinks he's supposed to act, listening to everything he's supposed to listen to at school, being, the student he's supposed to be, and doing everything he's told every minute of the day. So when they come home, they have all this built up, frustration, or this need to be just free and do whatever they want and let their emotions out, because one, they feel like they're in a safe space, but 2, they just need to freaking relax for a minute. Mm. Oh, that makes sense. Sure as hell doesn't make it any easier, right? But it makes sense. And so I think that same thing applies, right? Because athletes, to me, and I know you see this too, a lot of athletes, when they get to that point of, I'm tired of being told what to do, I want to have some fun, I want to have some freedom, they don't choose to do something. They choose to do nothing. I'm just doing it today. But if I said, do whatever you want to today, have some fun, man. They're like, oh, you giving me the keys to the car. Yes. Calling up your boys. Good. Let's go to Sbarro's at the mall, get a couple slices of giant pizza. We'll make a few laps, see if we can find a couple chicks, maybe swing into Spencer's, pick up a raunchy gift, get some, maybe some Doc Martens from the store. And then we'll come back and sit in the food court for another 2 hours, 2.5 hours, then we'll drive home. And that's what they do. But yeah, so I think if you implement it correctly, right, then you can, show them that flexibility is great and they're fun. And if they're having fun is super important, but just a slight reminder to, just here's a few guardrails, right? Don't be an idiot, but go have some fun today.
Go have some fun. You said something, you mentioned freedom earlier, and there's nothing more powerful than that on occasion. Even if you work it into what you're doing, right? There's nothing better than looking forward to something like an adventure day. And sometimes you just, like you said, I always look at run camp as an adventure week. For me, it sort of hits at the right time, and it just kind of forces me out of my shell and pushes me over the limit a little bit. But, because we do that marathon, but it's so much of it's so hilly that it's a lot of hiking. It doesn't really destroy me. And I've learned that over the years. I think, if I had to actually run a full marathon on flats, it would be like limping for a month right now, but it works out. But anyway, the freedom. And then you start thinking about it's so, as a coach, the nuance is very interesting. It's sort of like, you think, like you're saying, sometimes you just need to do nothing. Like, with Hayden or whatever, he comes home, whatever, it's grumpy. And it's like, people like that will expect you to say something to them, right? What you need to be doing, whatever. And I think it's always best in that situation when people are struggling or whatever, is because they're wanting you to go. It's kind of like Phil Jackson. You just stay out of the way. And then they come and you go, why haven't you been asking me why I'm in such a shitty mood? It's like, well, because I think that's something that you need to kind of sift through on your own. And I just think adventure days and getting out there and letting it be free, and those are like rechargers or whatever you want to call them. But they're great time also to sort of recalibrate, to get back into the groove. And I kind of feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but it's just something that needs to happen. And I even I'd like to just reinforce all the time, like almost like micro adventure days within every day, because it's that integrity of the workout thing that we talk about a lot. It's like, yeah, all right, maybe you don't feel like doing this exactly like it is, but just, do sort of what it is and kind of emulate what's going on and explore it. And if you don't want to do it, just do something else. But I don't know. I think that that's powerful. And I'm not super rigid with all my stuff. I like to kind of uncover the day or uncover the workout, so to speak. It's sort of like I'll go out with something in mind, and I'm sure you do this too. You just sort of shift it up a little bit based on what's going on. And certain things click with you mentally too as you're going. That's why I don't know. Like to nail, we can sit here and say we have the perfect formula for you to nail your race, and if you do everything I put on that program, you're going to be perfect. But it's just not that way. And I think that feeling good, being balanced in your life, and we kind of talked about like doing the little things last podcast about, if you're tired or whatever, do the things that you need to get your energy back, because your bucket can only be overflowed so often, or like empty so often, I should say. And it's tough to get back up when you're way, way down. So it's sort of like a fluid situation. That's sort of how I look at training in general. It's always a little bit fluid. And I'm okay with people kind of going a little bit rogue here and there, based on what they want to do.
And I think that's important, right? I think there's in general, and I think this largely falls onto coaches, in that as a whole, a lot of coaches like to push that it has to be done this way or this exact way, and this intensity has to be the exact way and this exact minute and this exact, method, or you're not going to get better. And for a lot of time, that might work for one or two people, but it doesn't work for everyone. And the best thing to do is to me is that's not to find the breaking point, but to do everything that you possibly can to avoid it. And to me, that means doing things like, having fun and going as long as you want to, but also as a coach, not, choosing when to, not reprimand, but choosing when to firmly discuss mistakes and when not to, right? Because you don't ever want an athlete to feel like it's not their journey. And you went too hard today, man. Bad idea. Do the intervals the way I said, or you went too long, or you didn't go long enough today. Why'd you quit early? You can't have those conversations. You got to pick your battles, right? I mean, like I picked one yesterday with an athlete. It's like, yeah, I did 2 sets instead of one because I just didn't see the point of one set. Meanwhile, getting over sickness. And I'm like, why? So you thought one more set of 5 30-second intervals was going to be better, but do you think it really did you any good whatsoever, especially while you're trying to get over sick, or do you think it elongated your period of being sick? Things that are fine. Running for 45 minutes into 30, no biggie. Riding for 45 minutes extra, no biggie. Right? So you don't want to ever let the athlete feel like it's not their journey, because it is. It's 100% their journey, which is the hardest part of coaching, is that you are trying to integrate into someone else's journey, guide them, right? Lead them, walk beside them, be behind them to get them where they want to go, while at the same time feeling like it's still 100% theirs. Because that's what the most value is, in my opinion, for athletes. It takes ownership. And so when you give them, like, I'll just tell you fact. So when I get off this podcast, I'm gonna have lunch, I'm gonna do a few emails, and I'm gonna go home. I'd normally ride along on Saturday, but we're heading to St. Louis Saturday morning to go see the Preds and Blues play. And I'm just gonna get my bike, and my goal for today is ride as long as possible. Period. That's it. Ride as long as possible. I have no idea how long that's going to be. Could be 2 hours.
Prediction?
Could be 3 hours. Who knows?
Who knows? You might be fired up.
Exactly.
It's a little adventure day for you.
I've been known to drop out a 4-hour ride, before.
Outside?
No, not outside. No, sitting on the watt bike, baby. And so
you got a new saddle for that thing?
Probably not 4 hours for sure. My rear end is not in 4-hour rear end shape. But to me, that's an adventure day, because I get to just, I've been rigid all week. I haven't missed a single workout, which is great for me coming off run camp. And I've already ridden 3 days this week, so I'm making 4 days in a row. I'm just, just ride as long as you want today. And then I'm giving myself a kind of a limiter or a guardrail, which is first hour has to be zone 2, low zone 2, period. Because if I don't say that, then what I'm going to do is if I want to get after out of the gate, what I'm probably going to do is ruin the ultimate goal, which is ride as long as possible. The goal is to not ride as hard as possible for a shortest period of time. The goal is to ride as long as possible. And you can do that, right, with cycling, because it's no impact, no injury, period. Your foot's on a fixed platform that goes 360 degrees. That's it. The only thing that's going to be hurting is my crotch, period. Okay. I'm not going to injure anything. Running, you can't do that. I'm going to run as long as possible today, because you have some people that are like, 4-hour run sounded great today. No, maybe not ideal. But so I give myself a parameter, zone 1, zone 2, the first hour, let your legs warm up. After that, hit the lap button, and then see where the day takes you. And it does. It allows you to make all these minute by minute changes, building up, slowing down, building up, slowing down. Ooh, I feel good today. What should I do? Should I go really hard? But maybe I won't be able to last as long. Maybe I should go a little bit slower. And what that does, it sounds a lot like race day. How do I feel? Like, I know I got to start off slow. I think I got it. I think I'm going to push, but how hard to push? I want to go as long as I possibly can and ride, maybe 3 hours. What's going to set me up for success the most? Or, man, I just don't know that I have the bandwidth for 3 hours today. 2.5 seems right. It's probably not going to fry me mentally. let me get after it and push it up. And so you're still succeeding, right? And so I also think that athletes need a broader range of, a broader range of what's considered a win. Because most athletes, they just have a very, very small window. Very small. I had a coach that's one of our newer coaches. We were texting back and forth earlier this week, and they're like, "Yeah, athletes, they got a perfectly good door to walk through, so they choose to go through the window." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds very much like." I was like, "Welcome to coaching, baby. That is what we do, right? Who needs a door? Let's crawl through the window, or sometimes let's cannonball down the chimney." But what athletes do, because they have such high expectations and they put such an enormous amount of pressure on themselves to do things perfectly, is that their window is it's like trying to hit the bullseye with a dart 100 meters away. Like, no, like what you want to do is put them up about 5 feet away with a freaking sledgehammer and let them go to town, because it feels attainable. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like some fun, versus the impossible task of being perfect, right? Because that also diminishes and ruins motivation, and it ruins commitment when you have these enormously high expectations about every workout. I got to hit the right TSS score. I've got to hit them. My God, I just don't feel like I did something. Yes, you did it perfect. You got it done. Moving on. Why are we peeling back the layers of a workout until we find something that I can pick apart? Which again is most triathletes' favorite pastime, right? I crushed it today, coach. But looking back at the Tuesday I did back in 2021, I think I'm missing a little bit. Athlete's favorite thing, but it's on these like adventure days or whatever you want to call them, freedom days, flex days, fun days, whatever it is, choice days, whatever you want to call it, whatever floats your boat, is that there's the range of win, the range of fun, the range of fulfillment is so huge and so broad. And more importantly, we didn't come up with it. You did. You came up with it.
Yeah.
How far do you want to go? How hard do you want to go? How fun does it want to be? It's all you. It's like, to me, it's like seeing a dog with their head out the window driving on the highway. Fun, smiling, ears flapping. I don't have any idea where I'm going, but I'm having a good time. Versus sitting in their crate in the trunk of the car facing the other direction. There's just so many opportunities, especially this time of year, right? I'll never forget. This is probably my first ever. You were probably the first subject of my adventure day.
Very likely.
And I guarantee you remember what day it was.
Swim the suck?
No. It was.
The lap. The lab?
No, neither one came. Maybe you don't.
Wait. Let me give me a second here. Your adventure day. Oh, the marathon.
What's that?
The marathon?
No. Can we just stop right now before we humiliate ourselves any further?
I know you like the back of my hand, buddy.
I know. Stop.
3 Crow.
It was when we're coming back. You just started on the trace, right? You're doing a loop, and I come back, and you're expecting to do 60 miles, right? Mm-hmm. And I stopped you in the middle, not even close to the car where you could bail, and I said, we're going double today.
It's my adventure day.
Yeah, your adventure day. As a coach, my first experience as an adventure day, telling you like, this is what we're going to do. This sounds about right. And so you went from doing 60. We almost covered 120 that day, didn't we?
Oh yeah, it was at the rainy day.
You went mentally prepared to do 60, and then all of a sudden I was like, nah. I was like, come on, hop on, we're doing 120.
I was saying low balling.
Yeah, you were definitely low balling. And
well, let that be a lesson, man. 60 miles, and I did twice.
Exactly.
I mean, if I can do that, anybody listening can do that shit.
I totally.
What about your adventure week that you gave us? See, that was the thing I was thinking about when you brought this up. Was we were halfway through Ironman training. I would say, I don't know, June-ish maybe, before Wisconsin, and of course we had to meet at.
It was right after Muncie, was it not?
Oh yeah, so was that July even?
Yeah, it was July. Yeah, back to July.
Yeah, so we're, closing in on Wisconsin, right? And it's my first one, and I think you had us all meet over at that Edley's on the east side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the team was meeting over there, and you had a big announcement. I think it was like a Sunday or something.
And who knew what it was going to be?
Yeah.
Back then?
So I ran over there. Remember this? It was probably a good 8 to 10 mile run on a Sunday, and we got there, and we're all sitting down having a few beers and some briskets. And you go, well, I just want to announce your next week's schedule. It's like all choice days. And I think we were about 8 weeks out, or maybe something like that. But we had been working hard, and you're like, nothing's on the schedule. Do whatever you want. And I was like, that is incredible. And it did. It recharged me in a weird way. But obviously we didn't do anything. I think we probably did nothing for the next couple of days. We probably hit up some, 3 crow nights or something like that. But we got back into it. We had it was almost like it sucked the air out of the balloon and relieved a lot of the pressure leading up to it. And then for me, it worked. I don't know if that would be cozy for a lot of athletes, but it was interesting. I was also thinking as you were talking that we could, in a way, this has become maybe an adventure day for the podcast, where we can just kind of go off where we want. I was just reading earlier the post the guy made about turning our podcast into a Jeopardy show. Did you see that post?
Dude, I would love to do that.
The category, things Nick says for 100.
That's right. Things Nick says.
Who the fuck is Nick?
Exactly. I mean, for real, if you want to go back for a minute, who the fuck is Nick? And then, of course, I had an athlete, Nick Parker. And I'm in Costco yesterday, and he goes, dude, what the hell? I was like, I mean, nothing against a Nick, but I'm not Nick. I was like, I'm more of a Tyrone. Like, you're like, yeah, so maybe they got some Tyrone. Nothing a Nick. Nothing wrong with a Nick, right? But yeah, I'm like, I totally do. I mean, that's our podcast anyway.
I know.
An adventure day. Whatever we're feeling, it's a whole win. It's not scripted. We don't have sponsors to kiss ass to, and drop their names 17 million times.
It's just like breaking that.
And that's why we've been doing it for.
I think it's like snapping you out of it too. Yeah, we have to kind of shift gears every once in a while. Like I was kind of having trouble with adventure days, like coming up with them and shit there for a minute. And then you brought up our adventure day, and that kind of lit my fuse a little bit. I'm like, oh, now I'm starting to get it a little bit. And I'll take it depends for 1,000, Alex.
That's right,
Jeremy.
I'll take. I'm not really sure where I'm going here, but just hang with me.
Hang with me
for 600.
This may ruffle a few feathers.
That was another good one. It depends. I mean, every coach says it depends. Yeah, I mean, every single one of them says it depends.
Yeah, but I think what you're saying though is it's really nice when athletes are happy and healthy, which is our core value, and that could mean they're doing things on their own a little bit or having those adventure days and just, I don't know. I mean, like you said, this winter has forced me into adventure days because, we got 20 inches of snow and there was snowshoeing day and it was like ice run, like different things like that really do matter. I think it's very difficult. I mean, this is our life. So I recognize it wholeheartedly that doing triathlon all day, every day, and then doing triathlon all day, every night is a little tricky. So that's why I like throwing in a little more adventure than the next person maybe. But I think it's really important when it comes down to happiness and just be able to know that you're, like you're saying, that the dog with the head out the window is a great analogy because now you're on your own and you're just loving life and not thinking about all the pressures of a race that's 6 months away just because you didn't have a good run today or whatever.
It's I mean, to me, it's the hardest part of coaching
It's like the ghost note.
It is. And it's, like intellectually, from your experience, what the science says, what it all says, that we should do this. And this is more than likely how it needs to be done and how much we need to do. And this is how well you've done with it in the past. So I know we need to do this. So, but then if the athlete doesn't want to do it or doesn't feel like it's helped, then there's no point in doing it. Right? Like I have, I think 2 or 3 athletes that have just made it very, very, very clear I hate high RPM workouts. Hate them.
Mm.
And so, for a limit, I'm like, yeah, well, they're good for you, so you're probably going to get more of them. But then how many do you give them? And then if they start to skip them, then what's the point of giving them? Because they're not going to do them. So I have 3 specific athletes that I no longer give high RPM workouts to, only big gear. Because you know why? They love them.
Mm.
And if they love them, you know what they're going to do?
Do them.
They're going to. If they're not doing them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This doesn't sound fun to me. Okay, well, what sounds fun? Well, this sounds fun. I'm like, okay. And in your head, you're like, okay, I'm going to communicate this. I can see that. Let's compromise. Like that's a conversation I'm having with Hayden almost like daily. I'm like, hey, he's like, no. I'm like, first of all, you don't tell me no. And there's a better way to communicate how you're feeling. How about you use 2 to 3 sentences, and if we need to compromise, we can compromise. If not, then it's just going to be how it is. And so that might go, like the other night we were making dinner, and he was like, I don't want that. And it was like, vegetables, a bit of rice, and some chicken thighs. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. But what you're going to do is you're going to have mostly what we're making, and then you can pick 2 things to add on to it. I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then ate all of it. So instead of just refusing to eat, or putting up a huge fight because he doesn't want chicken thighs and rice with some steamed vegetables, which is probably a frequent fight with most 7-year-olds, he ate all of it because he also thought that at least some of the plate could be his idea, which was also 1 over easy egg with Frank's hot sauce and 1 piece of bacon, which is fantastic. But so little things like that is the same conversation you have with all athletes. I can probably get you 80% of the way there, and then the 20%'s on you. But the athlete will really, if you give them 20%, you give them 30%, it'll feel like 100, because now it feels like theirs, right? And so that's just it's one of the hardest things to do as a coach, is to figure out what that, some athletes don't care. You put it in front of them, they do it themselves. Or they do it no matter what, the exact way, every time. You have other athletes who go rogue on a 30-minute run every week. That's just who they are, right? But a lot of them, they just kind of need a little bit of, what, here are the parameters. That's why, I really try to, every 2 to 3 months, to kind of keep things fresh. And even, especially this time of year, we've talked about it before, is I'll give out a lot of ranges. Go out and run the day between 55 and 75 minutes. To me, that's also a flex day. All right, I got a huge window of opportunity here. And I'll say, on whatever terrain you want it to be on. So, a 55-minute on the road looks a lot different than 75 minutes on the trail. But if you give them a very strict workout, right, here's 60 minutes with specific intervals, you're going to be like, okay, well, the trail doesn't make sense, and from my house doesn't make sense. I got to pack up and I got to drive over to this. This is the best run on the green with me to do the intervals in so I can nail it. It's a lot of extra thought, right, that you're doing for the plan, for the race, because of someone else, because they're telling you to do it. Yes, we think it's in your best interest, but still, that's a lot of layers of feeling like you're giving, right? You're giving time away and bandwidth and mental energy versus 55 to 75 minutes as you see fit, nothing over zone 3, terrain of your choice. You're like, ooh, I've got options today. A lot of options, right? And I can just see how I feel in the moment and see what happens. And it's even again, like that that's on like a very micro level of, again, not really an adventure day, but it's still letting an athlete choose, right? And I think just it's very, very important to allow athletes that opportunity and that time to be themselves, because you also learn a shit ton about them as a coach. What do they choose to do? And if they choose the same workout every time you give it to them, then they like that, right? That's their jam. Then give it to them, right? And or if they don't do something, right, or they choose to go long, then that learns something. Then you learn something about them. They always choose trails over road. Something. Choose road over trails. Something. Like you can learn something. You can learn a lot by listening, and it's so much easier to listen to an athlete if you widen your margins a little bit. instead of making them read a script, because they're not going to go off. It's like, here's a 3 to 4 liner and then ad lib the rest. Like, oh, you get to know them a lot more, right? 100%. They'll be more who they are. They'll say things they like. They won't be so scripted. It's in a much more laid back format. It's not so, uppity. And then like, oh, it's like having, it's like going to the difference of like going to meet a new acquaintance at the coffee shop in the corner with nobody around for 2 hours versus, having to go to the freaking Chamber of Commerce meeting and talking to 60 people you don't like and write on off the same script every 2 seconds. Which one are you really going to learn more about a person? The coffee shop. They get to be who they are unapologetically, not just who they are. And so again, widening the margins as a coach for your athletes allows for performance gains. It allows for more knowledge, and it allows you opportunities to coach to listen and see what they might need more of that you might not know they need more of.
Yeah, I want to go back to this high cadence thing quickly, because I think we all agree that if you want to become the best cyclist possible, that's probably important work, right?
Oh, yes, it's very important work.
Yeah. And my question becomes, is it something you don't like because it's hard? And we like to do things we're good at. And that's why I like to talk about these micro adventures within the particular day of the workout or whatever. So like if you see a high cadence workout and immediately think, I can't hit 120 or 110 or whatever, you're comfortable in, say, 85. Can you move it to 90, 95? I mean, is that more enjoyable or more attainable? Does it become more fun in that regard? Because I think that's all it is like a process, and it takes sometimes for us to build. I mean, we talk about slow builds all the time. I mean, to really master something, it takes patience and micro gains and things like that. I mean, it's just like, it just always reminds me of how I was when I was a baseball player. I had a natural skill about it. And when I was taking ground balls, I always wanted my left up the middle at shortstop. And it was just easier for me to pick. I was really good at it, and in retrospect, after I learned actually how to field a ground ball, I realized it was because I was off to the side of it and it gave me depth perception. And balls hit right at people are very difficult to field because you're just looking, you can't tell the bounce distance. So that's why I learned I didn't learn it till my senior year of college, but when a ball's hit right at you, you're supposed to go take one hard step to your right and get off to the side of it a little bit. And then you come through it and move towards first and throw it over. But I was not very good at backhand, and I never liked practicing it, because it was just so hard. Because, I mean, that's the thing too. It was, it would be in practice and you get like whatever, 8, 10 ground balls or whatever. And, you'd have 2 of them would be backhands and you sucked at them, and then you botched one or botched them both. So you never really wanted to do it. But then I've told the story before, but after all that was over and I was playing this sort of softball competitive stuff, I got into a habit of going out to the school and throwing a ball against the wall and just backhands for an hour. And I really got into it and I loved it, and it translated so much to the field. So that's why I say even if you hate big gear, it's the same principle. If you can't go 45 to 50 RPMs, do it at, just slow it down from your normal cadence and just connect all the dots, and then just slowly get better at going slower. I think those are principles that we have to keep in mind. And that's why I say, it's like, I realize that, sometimes a workout might not be perfect for a particular athlete. They have to have their own judgment and their own call within it to be able to adapt it to where they're at. And we talk about own where you're at and not try to be somebody you're not. I mean, you can't, if you struggle at 100 cadence, trying 120 is just silly. Let's go for 100, and let's go for 101, 103. Let's build like that, and just make it. I think that when you're better at something, it just makes it more enjoyable. And sometimes, certain things are very difficult for triathletes. And certain things come natural, but if you always do what comes natural, you're never really getting much better, I don't think.
Yeah, there's 100% a happy medium there. I think and sometimes you have to push them, and that's something that you always have to say. Like, yeah, you're not good at them because you don't do them. Period. You're not good at them because you don't do them. And that's I'll give the example I'll give is one that before we shut it down is I had an athlete that used to come to run camp, very good athlete, extremely quick runner, would barely run on the trails. I'm a sit to grab. My ankles are weak. They can't handle the trails. I'm like, that's bullshit. You can handle the trails. Your ankles are weak because you don't run trails. It's not the other way around. My ankles just can't handle it. They're just too weak. I'm like, no. You do more trails, your ankles will be able to handle more trails. Just be smart. Year and a half later, winning trail races. I'm like, I feel like I told you this, that you're like, you were right. I just need to get out there and be on the trails more and do things that were uncomfortable and know that, it's going to make me better in the long run. And a lot of times, you have to push athletes like, hey, listen, let's just do this. Right. And a lot of it, again, as a coach, like in the, a significant part of your job is psychology. Can this athlete, and if we're being honest, not all athletes can this athlete manage pushing it, or are they gonna, it's like the fight or flight. They're gonna fight through it, or are they gonna they're gonna fly away. And some athletes will fight, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I know these are hard, and guess what? You're gonna get more of them. They're gonna eat them for lunch every day for 2 weeks. All right, bring it on, coach. I love the challenge. Some athletes, that's just not who they are, and you can encourage it, but you can't force it, because if you force it, they're not even gonna try it. Period. Mm-hmm. And so it's a happy medium. I think it's a great point you make about, hey, it's like, I'm just not very good at hills. It's because you don't ever run them. Mm-hmm. You told yourself you're not good at hills, so you don't run hills. So now you are not good at hills, but go run hills, right? Make him your buddy, make him your best friend. And it's like, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. That's how I feel about training in a lot of ways. If you don't like something, do more of it. Keep them close. Do more often. And so eventually you're like, I don't mind anything. Just bring it, because there's opportunity in all things, right? No matter what the prescription is, there's opportunity in all things. And I think, again, like going back to widening the margins for an athlete is it's encouraging them to take the hands off the wheel a little bit. And even if athletes freak out about it, and I've had athletes, I know you have me for choice weeks next week for an Ironman, but I need some structure. I'm like, okay, I go back in there. Choice days with fun. That's the only thing I get. They're infuriates. I'm like, I want some. I'm like, no, you're not getting any. Sorry, you can be mad at me, you can hate me, whatever you want to. You'll get over it in about 48 hours. But no, I'm not giving it to you, because you also need to learn to be flexible. You also need to learn to be okay with downtime. You also need to learn what it's like to rest, right? 95% of coaches, our number one thing with athletes isn't to push them forward, it's to slow them down. So getting them to recognize those things on their own is huge. And it's very much teachable, right? No, I'm not giving you anything. Nope, I'm not giving you anything. Period. Learn to be flexible. Learn to listen to your body. Learn to listen to your body. I'm not ready today. Okay, you're right. And then, 2 weeks later, I thought I was ready to get back to training, but it turns out I'm not. I'm like, you don't say. Taking the week off. Listen to your body, right? We can't always listen perfectly to everyone, because there is not a single coach on the planet. And they'll all tell you this. Most of them, they should. No one can predict how you're going to feel each and every day, ever. It's not possible. Just can't do it. And so to make sure athletes know to take ownership of that flexibility really does empower them to make the best decision possible. And those are just some of the very small things that can benefit an athlete so greatly on race day. And that I truly don't think we practice enough.
I agree. just a quick thought about hills. I feel always fortunate that I started running and riding in Nashville because there's a lot of hills generally. And that was just how I, cut my teeth in triathlon. It was just natural. And we just do a lot of hills, man. And we used to. So now it's like, yeah, when people talk about hilly races and stuff, and I can't do hills and stuff like that, it's really interesting to me because I don't look at a hill and go, oh shit, there's a hill. I just kind of go, oh, there's a hill. It's just a hill. And you just handle it different,
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot about that, man. It's like,
and it's the same thing. Like that's why, yeah. And that's why I love telling athletes to choose hills, because a lot of times I'll say, like, on a ride or a run, I'm like, just let the terrain dictate the work.
Well, just always pick the hill.
Yeah. This is so,
I mean, because you won't always, but just always think that way. But what's way home? I'm going to go the hilly way. All right.
Exactly. And then you're winning just by taking that route. You don't have to think about turning up the effort or what interval to do. It's just,
but the Strava pace, dude.
Strava pace. Gotta get your KOM, man.
What is it? My medal? Or no, what do they have? Medal. Awards on there?
They do have awards on there.
I found out this weekend they had leaderboards.
They do.
Well, I mean, I knew they had leaderboards, but I didn't realize it was for like everything in the world.
Oh yeah.
Every hill at run camp.
Yeah. There's you can create whatever you want, man. I mean, hell, in your neighborhood, you're probably the only runner. You could be the leaderboard of every single segment in your neighborhood, or probably the county.
I think I'd easily be top 5 at run camp if I uploaded my data over, because I've been to so many, right?
Yeah, you probably would be for sure.
Top 5. I've been to every run camp.
You'd be in front of Snell.
Oh, Snell would be dust.
I know
that would crush him, dude. If I did
this
that. Although
as long. No,
I don't think I recorded all my stuff, so it might be close.
Done.
Huh?
It doesn't have to be recorded. You did it. It's done.
Oh, I'm already the champion.
In my opinion, you're already the champ. I'm just Nick, and I'm along for the ride.
I got to figure out how to hack those Strava boards just for a quick minute and get me ahead of him.
We can just go out there on a fresh day.
You got any connections at Strava that can kind of just sneak me in there for a split second?
Let's go get Greg and hop on his ATV.
Oh, that's right.
Come flying down there and feel like we're going to lose our life and just go down. I hope we make it to the end.
That was one of our more special moments together.
Yeah, I think you grabbed my leg that day.
No, I didn't do shit. I was fine. You were like...
What do you mean
your
you were
hair
fine?
was standing
over
up.
And your face was like pale white. You're holding on to the shit handle. Pretty sure you grabbed like my thigh right above the kneecap. And we looked at each other like, this might be it. We might be going down. We might be a redneck casualty.
We were abnormally tight together on that cart.
Sir, I was like, isn't there a back seat in here? Why are we all in the front?
Yeah. It was like a golf cart type deal when we were all three across. It wasn't a caddy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Greg who owns the property, he was just grinning ear to ear. Look at these city boys bouncing up and down.
It's like, we've seen enough. We'll take it.
Yeah, we've seen enough. It's time to go back. We're fine.
He's just not bombing into the creek without even looking at it.
Oh my gosh. If those things had airbags, I was waiting for at least a few of them to come out.
Yeah. I was getting a little concerned that you might slide out the side door.
Yeah, me and you both.
See, that's why I think your hand was on my thigh.
I was not. Well, there were a few times I thought about just bailing because I was like, my only option is to get out now.
Yeah.
We survived and we're here. And you guys survived another week and another podcast. Hope you guys have a great weekend. If you're racing, race hard, have fun, do your best, leave the rest. As always, go to our website, c26triathlon.com, and it's our one-stop shop for all things coaching, camps, and community. If you're looking for coaching for the remainder of the year, you can always click on the coach tab and find the one that's right for you. We also have a few spots open for our June tri-camp in Nashville, and then our tri-camp in Wisconsin in late July. If you're looking for just time to get away with great people, awesome train, great workouts, spectacular coaching, and just a good old-fashioned time. Click on one of those, find a date that works for you. If you have any questions about those, you can email Summer. She is at operations@c26triathlon.com. If you need anything from me specifically, I'm at Robbie at C26triathlon.com. And the same thing goes for Mike. He is at Mike at C26triathlon.com.
All right. Well, it's time for my adventure weekend, buddy.
I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next Tuesday.
Have fun in St. Louis, man.
Thanks, man. They better win. They played like ass last night.
Hey, when you're there, you might as well take the Arch adventure. That seems like it'd be right up your alley. Going up in the Arch?
No, I'm out. I'm good, man.
Come on, do it for me, man.
You just walk up to the top?
No. It's a you know how the arch is shaped? They have elevators that go up kind of sideways in those things.
They do. I'm out.
Come on, it goes up one and then it kind of slides over and then it goes up a little and slides over.
Whoa. No, that's not how elevators work. They go straight up and they come straight down.
This one does, and then you get to the top and you kind of look over the beautiful city, and that thing sways back and forth. It's
beautiful city.
Well, they have a beautiful baseball park.
Yeah, they do have a nice baseball park. I'll see if I got time for it.
There's no way you'll do that. That's like, I think it might be worse than flying, to be honest. Because there's claustrophobia massively.
Yeah, then I'm definitely out. Yeah, I'm out. Nope, pass. Tickets sold out. Just looked. Can't do it.
But no. Sold out.
Just looked. Tickets sold out. Can't do it.
Oh, there's they have scalpers sitting out there.
Scalpers. Yeah, right. Yeah, I can't.
Come on, do it for me, man.
It's aquarium first. No way, man.
You can give me a picture from the top of the arch, man.
Have somebody take my phone
sign up
there.
for Texas.
Yeah, I'll have somebody. You'll sign up for Texas if I do it.
That would be an unbelievable twist in the Jeopardy.
That would be a heck of a plot twist. But I can assure you right now, your registration is safe. That ain't happening.
Well, okay then.
It ain't happening. But if I do, you'll hear about it next Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you then.
All right, see you.